All right, so you already know one of the main questions is Benable worth it? Is it worth my time? And in previous videos, I have already addressed that, in my opinion, creating on Benable is worth your time, especially if you're a beginner. The more advanced creators, especially for those who have intentions and are more knowledgeable about the aspect of affiliate marketing, would probably venture off to other sites but still have fun using Benable. So for those who are using Benable already, or for those who are just discovering Benable and this is your first time even learning about Benable, hearing about Benable, and this is the first video you chose to land on, thank you for expressing your curiosity by clicking on this video to learn more. So the concept of this video is to give more attention to the guys and those who lean more toward masculine type of activities. Although I don't think any activity that you do has to be gendered labeled. So with that being said, but for those people who tend to get a glimpse of what Benable is and then they see so many things. So they see that a lot of content creators are using it, but they don't identify as a content creator. They see people who are influencers and they're like, I don't identify as an influencer. Or somebody who's just like, I want to do something regular and lean toward passive income and I'm a beginner and want to try something new or try something different. Well, Benable sets up for everyone, literally. And as previously stated, or if this is your first time hearing, Benable is the platform that caters to anybody who likes to offer recommendations by word of mouth. And when you think about it, if people are always asking you recommendations about things, you might as well put it in a list and you might as well recommend things, products, services, anything that comes to mind that happens to be linked with, through them, access to over 35,000 brands and potentially get a commission earned behind that. And that's a small concept with affiliate marketing. So with that said, if that is something familiar to you, if you've heard those terms before, stick around. If you're new here, thank you for entrusting me to get a little bit of idea about what I'm talking about. My name is Candace. I'm a content creator who on the downtime likes to use Benable to lean toward potentially earning some extra commission off of the recommendations that I offer, with not only as a content creator, but an everyday person and someone who started in the wellness space who wanted to trust or try a platform that would help me earn without having to do all of the hard work that starts and be expected by of influencers and ambassadors with more reach through the recommendations that they have offered on the platform. So with that said, I want to help you get started using your Benable. And if you want to learn more, I have more in-depth videos that I'll have linked below in the future. But for right now, the focus for this particular video is I am on a journey. I am on a mission to start like a new person and create lists that I think may help me earn a little bit more to reach the Benable payout. Well, what is the Benable payout? The Benable payout is currently $80, and that sounds steep. And in all honesty, for me as a beginner, it's like, yeah, why couldn't it be like $50 or something like that? But with me being a user of the platform for well over a year now, I personally think it's achievable with using specific lists. And like I said, there are other videos that I will link below that will gear more toward that when you want to test out the waters. And I'm assuming by you clicking on this video, you want to learn more or you want to know more about that. So this area of focus, I've been working on my very last video, which I believe will be this one here, to see how long and how fast I'll be able to reach the Benable payout. So currently I have about $50 in my bank. So I'm going to add that on top of what I currently have to reach the Benable payout. And I've been doing it for the whole month of April. And I've been slowly trickling in videos that are all encompassing in the timeline of April of 2026. So I started at the top of the year. Top of the year, if you know, you know. At the top of the month. And basically, we're going to focus on curating this list that's still all organic. The area of focus this time is another themed list that kind of sort of spins off on Mother's Day. So the objective technically, if you've already seen a video from the Mother's Day's list that I created, this is going to feel kind of similar but slightly different because like I said, this list is going to be curated for showing you, a person who may be identified as a guy or a person who likes to do some things that may lean toward the masculine interest. I personally think we may get some leeway by creating this list. So if you haven't started creating a list, and this might be right up your alley with some of the recommendations that I'm going to share, this might give you some inspiration. So if you already want to jump in and getting started with Benable, I invite you to use my invite code 6B4W7 just to get in, because it is, as far as I am still aware, it's still under a wait list. So in order to get access, you can join through a member. Now, as a heads up, as a creator, I am being transparent. This is not a catch, by the way. This is just me being straightforward with you to say that as a creator, if you use an invite code, doesn't even have to be me, it could be anybody else, you may help me reach getting an extra commission on a list by you joining through me. But that does not guarantee that I may earn a commission from it. But what they do offer on the back end is if you do join through me, you have a chance of earning a bonus percentage on your first rec when you do join. So keep that in mind. Like I said, there are other videos that give more insight to that to learn more details. And with those details, it's actually one video encompassed to a lot of information. So just letting you know on the front end of that. So moving in, I'm going to share my screen if you are ready. So let's get it started up in here. All right, so I'm sharing my screen now, and this is the trending page of Benable currently. So you have a lot of creativity being shared through the platform right now. They, as far as I remember them saying, they have well over 1 million followers that joined as of last year. So that's great. It's been fairly trending well as far as it being a new platform that people are discovering. So these are the trending topics that they have on the UI just as a starter, give you something to work with. So as a creator or a person who just wants to offer recommendations and earn a little cash back from those recs, you have these options, but you can create your own. And that's the thing about Benable, where you're not limited to. So I am going to focus on a couple things first based on the list. So to get things started, I'm going to go to my platform and show the list that I've already started. So what I've decided to do this time, if you've been following me from, I think, video 1, and I believe this is now video 6, this video is going to be catered toward the men and kind of sort of a vibe of Father's Day without it being Father's Day. This objective is focusing on bringing out the best in your guy, but it doesn't necessarily have to define who it is, right? And so with this title, I think I'm going to keep here, but with this title, the objective is going to focus on the types of guys. So like, don't come for me if you don't see the person you identify with or the characteristics you identify with or the hobbies and stuff like this. It's just the stuff that comes to the top of my mind. And for it to slightly not be so typical. So far I've focused on the athlete, the classic man, the artist and the DIYer, chef and grill masters, outdoorsman, tech and gamer, right? And then I'm going to add some honorable mentions in there based on the people that, or the types of guys that I think about under certain categories, but you can expand to whomever you decide. And then in addition to that, as you already see me scrolling, just to go as a quick slide through, I have these recommendations based on products and services and mostly product based, but services and slight video recommendations. So that's the gist of what I have for this particular list. So when you think about creating your list is going to offer whatever comes to mind: products, services, activities, things of that nature that speak to you. And that's the objective. You can offer recommendations of things you're aware of, and then you can offer recommendations that are true to you. Just be authentic, organic, so that when you start writing your descriptions that you see here, the subtopics for the categories that you have, and then within the descriptions of each recommendation, it's not hard to put information out there because it's true to you. So with that, I have certain inspirational lists from creators that happen to be men that I've already discovered and have either followed or saved in my bookmarks of the list that I've enjoyed. So the first one comes from Florida Phatman, and the only reason why I put him here first because he was actually the first guy that I saved the recommendation from, because I was actually happy to see, oh, it's a guy on this list, or it's a guy on Benable. Let me see what he has to talk about. Right? Especially when you start creating lists and the objective for you to grow your list and get it not only optimized in the trending section with a higher chance of it being indexed outside of the platform, you want to engage and genuinely engage in those recommendations that they have to offer. So for example, well, wait, first of all, I just realized my comment disappeared. I don't even know what happened. Okay, so that's real. That's real, you guys. My comment disappeared because I know I mentioned twice for this rec, and why it's disappeared, I have no idea because I don't even see it. And I've noticed a glitch a time or two of comments being posted and has been missing. Let's just say that. As you see, this tab here is highlighted for the bookmark that was saved, and it automatically went to where I wanted to search. So watch winders, and this particular brand is from Duckwin. So what happens is when you click on the recommendation, it's going to show you the recommended item that the person suggested when you click on it. But this is not what I personally bought for my partner for Christmas, but this is what they recommended. And then let me go back. So it did a pop-up. So this is what he said: watchwinder box for automatic watches. And we can, continue reading on and so on and so forth. But Duckwin is a very quality brand that I've discovered and enjoyed purchasing for my partner for Christmas. And it has many highlights about it, especially the backlight, the blue light. And it has a semi-silent motor to the winder. Very cool. All right, that's enough of that. Okay, and so let me go to my bookmarks, for example. So when you save your bookmarks, you have it categorized in the list that you chose. You can also do it by search, and it'll pop up the list that you specifically saved. So here's another guy, for example, Matoka. He created, shout out to Matoka, and I think I'm gonna add these recs, add their list in my description box or the show notes so that you all can catch these lists just in case you might be interested in what you see as I'm talking here. So his list, for example, was about Tokyo. I thought it was super cool. What attracted me was the cherry blossoms. And not only that, I have a friend whose son happens to be autistic, and she wants to take him to Tokyo because that's something that he had been interested in. I have a cousin who's in the Navy who happens to be in Tokyo. No, not in Tokyo, but in Japan somewhere. I forgot. I hate to call its name for short, but Saku, but I can't remember the name. So I'm not even going to try because we were at a cousin's conversation. We had a cousin's chat one particular day, and I had to say about 15, 11 times, and I still don't remember, because it's been like weeks since we've had the conversation. But it was very, very, very good to talk about. And so remembering having that conversation with him many weeks ago, I said I would save this list for future tense for me. So these are two guys, for example, where you can check out their list and see what else they have to offer. He is heavy Japan travel guides. Awesome, 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 awesome. A lot of stuff specific to him, obviously. So you can technically say this is a niche content that he has to offer on Benable. Very nice. So let's jump back into my list. This is where you come in. These lists that I've created, or these sections that I've created, has been based on the brands that I've found to be helpful to give you an idea on items, products, services that you want to recommend based on the brand. So I'm going to do a couple per each section, and then I will tag this whole list in the show notes below. So if you have an idea of wanting to do something similar, but based on a certain brand, you're more than welcome to also observe the list for your interest. So let's talk about the athlete. Do we want to talk about the common sports? Not necessarily, because we already know. So the first honorable mentions would be football and oh, y'all help me. Football and basketball. I didn't want to do that. I could have done soccer, didn't add soccer, just because I felt like it was already being enough. Baseball gets a lot of attention, but baseball doesn't get attention, in my opinion, unless you're a fan, like basketball and football. So with that said, I have golf, bowling, billiards, running, and baseball. So for example, I'm going to do bowling, and we have Amazon, right? Because there wasn't any brands specific to bowling that I was aware of that you can instantly get a rec from. I'm sorry, a whatchamadoodle, let me edit here, a Benable auto affiliate link, because you won't see it if it's already saved, because I've already been creating the list. Oh, we don't need Grammarly. Sorry, Grammarly. All right. So this is an example. So with that said, you have things like Amazon that you can use on the back end. There's another process that you have to do with Amazon in order to start getting affiliated with them, in order to add your recs through Benable. But to say the least, you can add Amazon as a backup just in case you can't find a brand that supports the item that you're recommending. All right, let's do billiards. Same thing with billiards, but for a person who might not think about it, Etsy is an example. Let me not highlight on the link because it's just going to add the other stuff. So Etsy, if you're familiar with Etsy, you can add recs from there. So I just did a personalized pool triangle as a suggestion and an idea. All right. Callaway Golf. This is a gripper for the golfers who know how over time their handles are going to get a little worn, wear and tear, and get a little weak, and the grip is not as great. It just doesn't feel good even if you got on a golf glove. So you can just throw in certain brands, but you have to have a search. And then I believe Walmart, for example, no, I lied. Dick's Sporting Goods for the for baseball. And then as a service, I'm going to do edit. By surprise, I was surprised to see this, but as a runner, Feet Fleet has a Benable auto affiliate link. So there are, I said I was going to do a few and I end up doing more, but just to give you an idea about that. Now, one of my favorites, the Classic Man. So you have recommendations. I'm quite sure you already have an idea of what to think, like a watch, cologne, things of that, and alcohol. So I'm not going to jump to Blanton's specifically, but I want to be specific about certain products. So this one here and this one here. So the cigar lounge that turned into a historic church, which is in Tampa, for example, a video that I was speaking about, because in this list, I told you I'd be recommending not only products, but services and videos. By the way, for Feet, say that 10 times. This is a service. So this service is helping you find the standard fitting process. So that's a recommendation that takes you to the website so that you can get your feet fitted. So this is a service that's offered. It goes directly to the main website, but if you tap into their tab for fittings, you can set up an appointment to get your feet fitted with their specific software, their diagnostic software, in order to get your feet assessed. So now we're going to talk about the Classic Man, and this particular one is focused on a YouTube video. And so in this video, we're going to talk about, for example, how you can plug in a YouTube video, and this one goes specifically to a cigar lounge. So a cigar lounge, that's a historic church. We're going to pop into it being from the Grand Cathedral. in Tampa, Florida. So we already know Tampa is very popular, the home of cigar land. So essentially, that could be a recommendation that you offer for someone who is just getting to know about Tampa and where to find a nice attraction and a cigar lounge in order to appreciate. But if you're a cigar aficionado, you most likely already know about that. You already know about, for example, cigars, Arturo Fuente. I have another recommendation, which is the Fat Bottom Betty. This is a website here that you can search. Besides the smoke, if you want to stay away from the smoke and prefer the smell good, but on your body, recommendations of nice colognes. So this one does not have, oh yes it does, I'm sorry, I forgot. So this is through Belk. So you take the edit off, auto affiliate link, so you can recommend, most likely there are a few department stores like Belk. I believe there was a Dillard's that may come through as an auto affiliate link. So if you have your favorite scents, you can drop in your description and you'll be set. Kohan, for example, auto affiliate link. So there's a good bit to choose from. Now let's go into the artists. For example, you're like, the artist, what could I be potentially finding on there besides most likely Walmart? Well, you have Etsy, for example. So we also have Michaels. Y'all, I did a lot for this. So I'm trying to remember off the top of my head. I could have been a little more prepared, but I figured you'd appreciate working with me. So Michaels, for example, that has an auto affiliate link to it. And this is for your painters. I love painting. I've been away from painting for so long. I love oil paint. I love palette knives. That's why you don't see brushes here, because I want to do things slightly different in order for you to appreciate the creativity that comes. So what else comes to mind? For the photographer, you have Shutterfly. Now, why would a photographer use Shutterfly? Well, I'm putting in the mind and thinking about the casual photographer. I'm quite sure there are other more premium, precise places to purchase and download and print off your photos. But I'm thinking of brands that can help you. So if you're a hobbyist, you can use Shutterfly to print certain things. And then there you go as a suggestion. Also, Michaels. If I haven't already mentioned Michaels, I think I did. We're just going to go with it. But for the rug makers, the tufting tool, perfect for you to be creative with. Now, I was trying my best for the auto and the mechanic guys. You do have, for example, advanced auto, but you don't have AutoZone. Other people like the DJs, you think of Best Buy, the DJs and other creative outlets. I'm quite sure there's some brands in here for you to use and take advantage of using the platform. I'm quite sure I've convinced you enough, but if you still want to carry on to the topics and the sections of the type of guys you are, let's keep going. So for example, Chef and Grill Masters. I'm quite sure there are some brands that you are already having off the top of your dome, like Walmart. We do have Lowe's. We do have Home Depot. So I think, for example, the grill wood chips, we had Home Depot already suggested. And I want to say this might be Walmart. Walmart. And then, okay, what about the actual chefs or the cooks? There are brands like Shark Ninja. And then you also you want to think about probably leaning more toward the Belks and the JCPenney's and things of that nature, as far as like your pan suggested. I think there was a Le Creuset, I believe, and then there was another. Let's try it out. Let's see. Let's pop in real quick to see what else potentially may be there. And there isn't a guarantee that these brands will always stay. But for example, let's see. Dashboard, brand partners. Let's see here. First of all, let me change my category to, not category, United States, right? And then let's we do have right here, Up to 10%. So I could have done pots and pans as an example, but I wasn't thinking about that, you know? But you catch my drift. So for the chefs, the bakers, it'll fall in the same category. So the outdoorsmen, you have still Ace Hardware, for an example, as a brand that you can use. You have Bass Pro Shop, Dick's Sporting Goods, we've already mentioned. So this is Bass Pro here. I'm just throwing things in. I recently went fishing with my dad. This man carried everything except the tackle box. We had the worms. We had like three fishing rods, and in a very almost drought pond. We was, obviously fresh water. And we had fun doing it. But in my mind, I'm like, Dad, why don't you just carry something so that you can have it all in one place? So this is why the tackle box came to mind. Bass Pro, we've already mentioned. And then let's see what we have here. Lowe's. We've already mentioned Lowe's, but this is the first rec that came to mind here. For the people who like to paddleboard, oh my goodness. I remember when I went paddleboarding in Charleston, and I did not realize how much, y'all. I did not realize how much core and leg strength it was going to be required of me. I remember people from the pavilion looking down, and it was like, use the oar more strong. It was hilarious. Use your core. Listen, I was dying in Shim Creek. I was dying. But anyway, for those who use paddle boards, let's see what we recommended. Tractor Supply. So you have that there as an example for a brand. Okay. And then for the tech and the gamer, we went heavy Amazon, but we have Best Buy, I believe. We did Amazon here for the mic. This is currently what I have on right now. I will continuously recommend that. Another popular one that people are seeing is the DJI. I personally think they're really good. That's what's trending right now, but a lot of people should be giving Hollyland a lot of love too. It is very, very, very good quality, and it has a range of like 300 meters, I believe. And the battery life is amazing. I haven't charged this thing in like forever. I really haven't. And then as far as the headphone, I believe this here was Best Buy. So there are quite a few brands that you can work with in order to get started and recommend things. Like I said, the honorable mentions as far as the brands was Lowe's and Home Depot, because those are typically home improvement and things that people kind of sort of already lean toward. But things like Ace Hardware, other brands, for example, let's go back to the dashboard. Brand partners. You can use the platform and search by category. Automotive, for example, the people who like to wrap cars and stuff like that. I'm quite sure there's a brand that you can choose from that might be familiar. So this is catered mostly. I think I've already had it automated to. So this is not only the US, this is global. But to say the least, there might be some brands that you might be familiar with automotive. So I said automotive, like Motorola or Motorola. Anyway, so this is something to give you an idea with, right? You have business, coupons, deals, drugstores, entertainment, fashion, accessories, food and drink, etc., etc. Home. For the people who are into interior design, I would put that in the art section. So it just gives you an idea. It's literally categorized for everybody's interest. For those who like to travel, you have TripAdvisor. You also had Expedia, I believe. You had Airbnb in here, I also believe. So it just gives you an idea of the things that you can work with. So to say the least, what I do like mostly with Benable is that they don't take a penny from the recommendations that you offer. So let's go back to my list. In these videos that I've been creating so far, this will most likely be the last list that I create. And if this hasn't convinced you enough, that is perfectly fine, because what I want you to really do is just see if this is something that you might be interested in the first place, especially if you are not a beginner and you're well versed in understanding about the affiliate marketing aspect of things and where you want to put your time most. But I highly recommend beginners, start with Benable because it doesn't require a lot of legwork. And then for those UGC creators who are also beginners and interested, this is something that you can focus on. If you're a UGC creator, something that I'm considering tapping into, you can recommend an item such as this, create your own list, create the list to where you recommend set items for tech gear, for example, right? I think I have a list for that. Let me scroll down to the bottom. Where am I? I believe I have, yeah. Travel worthy tech for busy content creators on the go, right? Something to consider when you are thinking about UGC creating and stuff like that. As I am still considering myself in the newer rank, besides those who are already well off and well versed in where they have been so successful with getting extra income for their needs. So I hope with this list, it not only helps guide you or gives you some inspiration, some insight on creating your list, but not only that, I hope that you actually enjoy creating to where you get some reward for the things you recommend. So again, we're going to see how well these lists do. I still have a lot to catch up with, y'all. So if you've been following me from video 1 to now video 6, I still have some items that have to be updated, but they have been completed essentially, because we've had categories of 9 items. Well, I got one to add in the wellness list, and 11 items, at least with the recommendation. So if you're also new and hearing this for the first time, some of the main things you want to focus on when it comes to an optimized list, forgive me for talking fast, it's just rolling off the top of my tongue, but the main things with Benable, you want to make sure that you, in order to get to the trending tab and get where these are, which isn't hard, it's highly achievable, you can create a list that has at least 10 to 15 items. That's what Benable recommends. You want to make sure you have quality photos, as you see here. You want to make sure that you have great descriptions, something that is personable, lengthy enough to where it gives enough information to be processed and seems real and authentic to the reader, as well as being helpful to that individual so they have an idea, because when they're searching, they're looking for specific things, and what you have to offer just might be that specific thing they're looking for. So quality photos, 10 to 15 items, and also an interesting title, and then 10 to 15, oh, I already said 10 to 15 items. So yeah, so to say the least, I hope this video has helped you, give you a little inspiration. And if you want to learn more, I invite you to check out these videos here. One of the videos is going to be a list of videos where I have actually collaborate with a friend who actually introduced me to Benable, and we talk about our experience on the platform and how we've been successful with earning our commissions. So one thing I forgot to add was that I've been able to cash out twice on the platform. So if that is enough motivation for you, I hope that this has helped you in some type of way to start creating and hopefully start getting some extra income in your pockets, as well as if you are in the works of becoming a content creator, a UGC creator, or anything further, that Benable will be a great start for you to enjoy in order to get your feet wet. So once again, thanks for entrusting me by listening to what I've shared so far today. And if you've been doing what I've been doing for the past month, I wish you well on your creator journey, as well as getting some extra coins in your pocket. And I will see you on the other side. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.